President al-Assad states that Damascus, the city which has been steadfast throughout history, was able thanks to its people's awareness to confront the terrorist attack on Syria. Al-Miqdad delivers the final results of the elections abroad to the Supreme Judicial Committee and confirms that the turnout exceeds 95%. And Dr. Bashar al-Assad conclude their campaigns today, preparing for the presidential elections the day after tomorrow. Good afternoon. Welcome to our news bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. President Bashar al-Assad applauded the people of Damascus city over their awareness, which has enabled it to hold its ground in the face of the terrorist war against Syria. During a meeting with a number of Damascus city dignitaries, President al-Assad affirmed that the power of any country stems from that of its people, saying, had it not been for the high popular sentiment, Syria would not have been able to remain firm and frustrate the externally plotted schemes against it. The dignitaries, for their part, underscored the significance of national reconciliations, which are underway in several areas across Syria, as they represent a door open for all the people of the homeland to return, especially at a time when a clear vision has been formulated and amid growing public awareness concerning the unfolding events in Syria. Vowing no effort will be withheld that might bolster stability and restore safety and security, the dignitaries express support to the Syrian army in its battle against terrorism. The three presidential candidates, Mr. Maher Hajar, Dr. Hassan al-Nouri and Dr. Bashar al-Assad, concluded their campaigns today, preparing for their presidential elections the day after tomorrow. According to the general elections law, tomorrow, which is called the Day of Electoral Silence, the presidential candidates are not allowed to do any activity on their election campaigns.
Especially in this period of challenge and resistance.
Where did you come from? I have been in Saudi Arabia and Jordan. My children are there. My daughters are married there. For sure I'll vote. How do you see Syria after election? As it is always wonderful. Peace and safety are the most important demands of us. Are you going to vote? Yes, for sure. What's your opinion in election? Are you optimistic? Yes, we are optimistic. Are you going to elect? For sure. Are you optimistic in this period? For sure we are optimistic. We consider it a new period and a new beginning for Syria.
The second meeting of the heads of national security and foreign policy commissions of the parliaments of the states friends to Syria started today in Tehran. Speaker of Iranian Shura Council Ali Larijani said that achieving democracy in Syria cannot be fulfilled by force and through weapons. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Jawad Zarif said that interference in Syria through supporting the armed groups will spread the crisis into other areas. Zarif added that terrorism will rebound to those who support and finance it in Syria, calling on the international community to immediately combat terrorism. In Damascus countryside, a Syrian Arab army unit killed and injured a number of terrorists affiliated to the terrorist group of Islamic Union for Sham fighters and Ummahat al-Muslimin brigade in the area of al-Mliha. Among the killed terrorists were Abu Zayyad of the Algerian nationality and Abu Fahd of Saudi nationality. The army units also clashed with terrorists in several areas in Harasta and Jobar. In Douma, the army destroyed terrorists' hideouts and killed a number of terrorists. Other army units clashed with terrorists affiliated to the so-called Al-Islam Army in Alaya Farms. In Zabadani, the army targeted terrorists' hideouts in many areas, destroying their weaponry, including mortars, and eliminating non-Syrian nationalities. Among them were Faiz Rajdi of the Lebanese nationality and Tahsin Nawaf of the Saudi nationality. A number of terrorists from al-Qaeda affiliated terrorist group Captured al Nusra related the details of their attempt to assassinate Interior Minister Lieutenant General Mohammed al-Sha'ar on January 12, 2012, using suicide bombings which resulted in the death of 10 citizens and the injuring of others. According to the terrorists' confessions, which were broadcast on the Syrian TV, the operation was carried out according to the instructions of the Emir of Jabhat al-Nusra terrorist organization, Abu Muhammad al-Shulani, and was planned and executed by 2 Iraqi terrorists and 4 Syrians, one of them a policeman who used to work at the Interior Ministry's reception office. The attack employed a car bomb, which was rigged in a farm belonging to Mohammed Nabil al-Shallah, one of the accomplices. Then the terrorists scouted roads leading from al-Qaboon area to the Interior Ministry before they selected a route and set out in 3 cars. One for scouting, followed by the car bomb, which was carrying 2 suicide bombers, and a car containing 4 armed terrorists. Terrorist Mohammed Nabil al-Shallah affirmed he had owned a booking office at Pullman bus station where his son Mohammed Munzir and the policeman Hashim al-Assaf work after his full-time work is over. He also had owned a private office in the industrial zone in al-Qaboon area and another office for renting of the policeman al-Assaf. Al-Saghir stole a Hyundai Tucson car, moved it to his farm in Jisreen in eastern Ghouta with the help of Mahmoud al-Shalit and Muhammad Touma, who after they booby-trapped it, drove it back to the industrial zone in Al-Qaboon a week later. Al-Saghir and Al-Assaf rented a house overlooking the Ministry of Interior in Kafr Sousa area and let Muhammad al-Habboul, a cameraman, and other persons to watch, who was coming in and out of the ministry. 3 days before carrying out the operation, Saghir asked him to buy 3 mobile phones, but he bought 5 from Damascus Tower building. Terrorist Shallah also asked him to go to the industrial zone in Al-Qaboon a day before the operation. As he reached there, they brought the booby-trapped car. Terrorist Mohammed Munzir al-Shallah affirmed he met al-Assaf and al-Saghir at his father's industrial zone in Al-Qaboon. They both headed by the booby-trapped car from Ghouta area to one of the houses in Al-Qaboon. They got down from the car and entered a big room inside one of the buildings to see a big number of masked men from Jabhat al Nusra. They were chanting songs that called for jihad and bidding a farewell to 2 suicide terrorists who got in the booby-trapped car. They drove the booby-trapped car from Al-Qaboon area accompanied by 2 other cars. When they reached Faris al-Khoury tunnel, terrorist al-Shallah got down and the other cars drove to Kafr Sousa area. At that time, al-Assaf called to ask him to head to the area and wait for him till he got out of the Ministry of Interior. Terrorist Mohammed al-Habboul affirmed that in December 2012 he met Khalil Blal, Ahmed al-Madani and Ziad al-Saghir, and Bilal asked him to go with them to Kafr Sousi. So, the next day, he went with them and they were accompanied by Yasser al-Rihani, Khalid Ramadan, Zahir al-Madani and Fadil Bek. They went to a flat in Kafr Sousi in a mission to watch and monitor the ministry's building and see who comes in and out. The group had automatic rifles and he had a pistol given to him by Zahir al-Madani. They were watching the ministry and monitoring the movements. They were also watching a sideway near the building of the flat for fear of any raid on them in case somebody knew about them. When the first blast occurred, Ramadan was watching through the window while Rihani was watching through small binoculars. He also had a device that looked like a mobile. A remote control-led detonator. After that, a heavy explosion took place and broke the window. It was caused by a car bomb which was driven there by Assad. Then Rihani asked them to leave. A taxi of Saba type was waiting for them, so they took their weapons and benefited from the fact that people were busy by the blast and headed to the car. They were 5 people. Because there were not much space in the car, he went out of it near Kafr Sousi roundabout. The terrorist Nabil Mohsen affirmed that he knew al-Hammoud since school time, who introduced him to al-Assad, who in turn contacted him a day after targeting the Ministry of Interior and asked him about al-Hammoud, who was in Deir ez-Zor province at the time, to tell him that he detonated the Ministry of Interior. That concludes our news for today. Thank you for watching us. After the break, it's Vani with our economic and business news. You can always view this website on syriaonline.sy. God bless you and long, long live Syria.